Speed, competition, and a simmering rivalry. Red Bull's F1 team has it all. The thrill of the race and the roar of the engines have been amplified by the unfolding drama between two of the sport's finest drivers. Welcome to our deep dive into the fast-paced world of Formula One. Today, we're peeling back the layers of a fascinating story, a warning shot fired by none other than Red Bull team boss Christian Horner. As Verstappen and Perez continue to push their limits on the track, Horner has sensed the potential for conflict, and he's not staying silent. Stay tuned as we unpack this intriguing development and explore what it means for the Red Bull team, the drivers, and of course for us, the fans who can't get enough of the exhilarating world of F1 racing. Alright, so let's hit the rewind button for a second and transport ourselves back to the start of the 2023 F1 season. Red Bull has been tearing up the tracks in a display of sheer dominance, leaving competitors in their dust. Just think about it, 5 wins in a row. That's the kind of stat that sends shivers down the spines of their rivals. Now, if you've been following the races, you know it's not just about Red Bull winning, it's also about the exhilarating face-off between Verstappen and Perez. These two aren't just teammates, they're competitors, each one with his eye on the ultimate prize, the F1 Drivers' Championship. So far, Verstappen has 3 wins under his belt this season, with Perez hot on his heels with 2. This heated competition is not just about the glory of winning, it's about the pride of being the #1 driver in a team that's taking the F1 world by storm. And it's this battle, this head-to-head race for the championship, that's adding fuel to the fire of the F1 season. Every overtake, every pit stop, every checkered flag carries the weight of this fierce competition. So when we talk about Horner's warning to Verstappen and Perez, we must keep this backdrop in mind. Because the story isn't just about potential conflict, it's about 2 world-class drivers, the future of a dominating team, and the very essence of what makes F1 racing so thrilling. Okay, so we've laid the groundwork. Now let's jump into Christian Horner's point of view, the man at the helm of Red Bull's ship. In his recent interview on the Extraordinary Tales podcast, Horner wasn't coy about the possibility of conflict. In his words, the drivers represent 1,500 employees of our team and all the partners and shareholders, so they represent much more than themselves. An important reminder that in a sport often focused on individual performance, it's still a team game. You see, for Horner, the balance between individual ambitions and team interests is crucial. It's a fine line to walk. Tipping the scale too much toward either side could lead to problems. After all, F1 is not just about the man behind the wheel, it's also about the mechanics, the engineers, the partners, and everyone who contributes to making the car move at blistering speeds. Now let's take a trip down memory lane and visit the times when this friendly competition may have turned a bit frosty. Remember the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix? That's when Verstappen seemingly went against team orders to go for the fastest lap, leaving Perez visibly frustrated. Or how about last year's Brazilian Grand Prix, when Verstappen didn't let Perez pass, causing some visible tension off the track? While minor, these incidents hint at an underlying tension that could bubble up into full-blown conflict. And it's this possibility that Horner has his eyes on. Red Bull has been clear about one thing, though. It treats its drivers equally. As per Horner, the team doesn't have a #1 driver. Instead, the driver who's ahead on the circuit becomes the #1, and this status isn't achieved through contracts but through performance on the track. This is an important point to remember because it underlines the ethos of Red Bull: hard work, fair competition, and performance above all. But will this strategy be enough to keep the brewing tension between Verstappen and Perez in check? Only time will tell. And now, the big question: what happens if the rivalry escalates? Well, in the high-stakes world of F1 racing, escalating driver conflicts can have far-reaching consequences. On the one hand, it could hamper team dynamics, breeding negativity and disrupting collaboration. On the other hand, it could impact their overall championship run, turning a promising season into a nightmare. Remember, conflict isn't always bad. It can lead to increased competitiveness and bring out the best in the drivers. But when it starts affecting team harmony and overall performance, that's when it becomes a cause for concern. And this is the tightrope Red Bull, under Horner's leadership, will have to walk as they navigate through the rest of this highly competitive season. However, he laid it out quite clearly. They must never forget the larger picture in their pursuit of glory. since every decision they make and every move they pull off on the track is not just about them. It's a ripple effect that touches every part of the Red Bull machine. Horner is basically saying, yes, compete and push each other, but never at the expense of the team. Horner's belief in open communication comes across strongly here. He's not one to beat around the bush or let things simmer. For him, addressing the issue head-on, acknowledging the potential for conflict, and discussing it in the open is the way to go. This frank warning paints a clear picture of the path ahead for Red Bull. It also highlights Horner's direct, honest, and no-nonsense leadership style. The questions buzzing in all our minds are, will this be a wake-up call for the star drivers? How will they manage their rivalry without upsetting the team's equilibrium? Alright folks, we've looked at the past and analyzed the present, but what about the future? Let's shift gears and take a look down the road at what's coming up. The iconic Monaco Grand Prix. Nestled in the heart of the French Riviera, this track is a testing ground for not just speed, but strategy, precision, and team dynamics. Picture this: the narrow, winding streets of Monte Carlo, the azure blue of the Mediterranean, and our two Red Bull gladiators, Verstappen and Perez, navigating through the hairpin bends, the tunnel, and the legendary Casino Square. With Horner's warning echoing in their ears, it will be fascinating to see how they handle their competition on this challenging circuit. Will they maintain their respect for each other's space? Or will the narrow streets bear witness to a flare-up of their budding rivalry? Will the desire to be the number one intensify their competition? Or will they put the team first, keeping in mind the broader implications? Let's not forget the big picture here. It's not just the Drivers' Championship at stake, but also the Constructors' Championship. Red Bull is looking strong this season, and they'll want to solidify their position further. The performance of Verstappen and Perez in Monaco could significantly impact both of these championships, making this Grand Prix a pivotal point in the season. As we look ahead, the anticipation is building, the tension is rising, and the stakes are higher than ever. Horner's warning serves as a reminder of the challenges that come with managing a successful competitive team. As we eagerly anticipate the Monaco Grand Prix, we invite you to join us on this thrilling journey. Let's witness the drama unfold, the adrenaline surge through our veins, and the pursuit of glory that defines Formula One. Stay tuned for more updates, because in this exhilarating world, every turn of the wheel brings us closer to uncovering the stories that captivate us all. So buckle up, hold on tight, and get ready to witness the battles, the rivalries, and the triumphs that lie ahead. The Monaco Grand Prix awaits, and the countdown has begun.